It's the loudest voice of the year. We're looking back at 2025 to give you guys the top 3 most effective moments that we've covered here on the Homeless Left throughout the calendar year. And when I say effective, I mean the moments in which people being the loudest, whether individually or together, made the most impact on society, on politics, on our fellow man. And we can look at these 3 moments and use them to our advantage and apply these techniques into this year as we're a month into the new calendar year. It's good to kind of reflect sometimes. So here we are coming in at number 3. Dave Chappelle emerges, and he emerges as the top Hollywood voice to speak out against Israel's genocide. And he used the leverage he had with SNL and with Netflix to do this without being canceled. Now, did he go as far as the biggest deep dive into it? Was he the most revealing? No. But what he did is he had the biggest platforms, and he got away with just subtly bringing up some stuff that most people that didn't know any better, because they don't watch our show and they just kind of watch CNN and they wait for the next SNL and the next Netflix special. They don't know what's going on. Dave Chappelle used his platforms to get messages across on levels that no other celebrity was able to do. The others tried, but they either didn't reach as much people or they got punished too harshly afterwards and lost all of their jobs in Hollywood. They lost like the Susan Sarandons. There's a whole bunch of them that lost their representation through as a consequence. They made an example of them. But Dave Chappelle somehow managed to maneuver his way to a position that he was able to keep and did it without getting canceled. Let's look at the 2 examples in 2025 where Dave was able to slip something in. The first one came on SNL on the stage of his monologue he did about a year ago. So this was early in 2025, right after the LA fires, and he did a genius thing. He got the audience empathetic about the LA fires and people displaced because their homes were no longer here. They were here, and then they weren't. And it happened overnight. A lot of people lost their homes, and you guys know we covered this last year. Well, Dave Chappelle used the opportunity going on SNL, and he connected the dots from displaced people in the Palisades are very similar, if not exactly worth our empathy, as actually more so, Palestinians being displaced and having nothing. So way to connect the dots on that. I'll play the clip right here. When he does it, but it is a lot. Just in that last line, he was very well crafted, very carefully put together. And like I said, he didn't get canceled for it. In fact, his contract with Netflix has also stayed intact. He's able to go back on Saturday Night Live again. I don't think he's been on since, but he hasn't lost his relationships there. But that gets out to a lot of people, drawing that connection. So the next one he did was more recent. It was on his Netflix special that came out, and this was there were 2 big moments. I'm going to feature one of them if you guys missed it. This is when he explains to the audience, not just in the room, but the people watching, the countless people watching on Netflix were able to be told for the first time, because they haven't heard it before, how many journalists that Israel has killed. Very important to get that number out. And by the way, it's a low number that he says, but a lot of people didn't know that. It's a big deal. If you didn't know that, now you do.
These motherfuckers act like because I did a comedy festival in Saudi Arabia, I somehow betrayed my principles. Well, no, I know I didn't. I know. No. No, come on, everybody, let me do this. And I'm sure, I know, all right, now everybody calm down. No, I'm sure I'm right. First of all, what did they say? They said, Saudi Arabia killed a journalist, and rest in peace, Jamal Khashoggi. I'm sorry that he got murdered in such a heinous fashion, but, and no buts, like, period, and also, I mean, look, bro, Israel's killed 240 journalists in the last 3 months, so I didn't know y'all was still counting.
just wanted to put that there because yeah, the number was a bit low, but that's the point. Is he got it out. He got it out to people. That's the point. And he did it in a very smart, effective way. Everything Dave Chappelle does is calculated. He's not going to be the rough and tough, raw, unedited dude that just runs his mouth. He's not going to do that. He's keeping his access. He's keeping his resource. So it's worth a shout out to know that he can continue doing this and educating people, even with just a little sprinkle of truth, just a little bit, can get people to go, holy shit, I didn't know that. Okay, good use of your resources, Dave. Too bad there's not more people in Hollywood doing that. Okay, let's move on to the number 2 loudest voice of the year from 2025. This one actually hits home with us because we were certainly positively affected by this. UK protesters cause shutdown of film shoot, which featured Zionist Gal Gadot. So activist protesters actually disrupted psychopath Gal Gadot and her film shoot that was filming in the UK last year around, I believe it was around May that this happened. Let's go ahead and take a look at the protest. Let me grab that. Here it is. And this was highly effective. And the film's crew had no choice because what do you guys know about film crews? There has to be silence on set, and because they were filming in a public area, they were counting on the fact that people would maintain just a regular, peaceful, quiet tone and allow them to film. That didn't happen. And the reason is because you guys know protest is about being loud. Take it away, protesters.
Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Stop the genocide! Stop the genocide! Stop the genocide! Stop the genocide! Stop killing babies! Stop killing babies! Stop killing babies! Palestine will live forever! Palestine will live forever! We will never let you die! 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 Stop arming Israel! Stop arming Israel! Stop!
So I know you guys know that there's been controversy on Gal Gadot in general, and if you didn't know that, when we covered this, we definitely tuned a lot of people in. I'll show you guys this. If you didn't know about Gal, and you can see this, we actually did it's our best video on YouTube as far as engagement. When we covered this on our loudest voice of the week, when we covered Gal Gadot. But this, if you guys didn't know, this is Gal. She was an IDF soldier. She actually was a trainer. She trained other IDF soldiers how to use their guns, how to murder people. This was actually back in 2006. So she joyously signed up, became an instructor, and taught them how to go in and invade South Lebanon houses at the time when Israel invaded Lebanon and murder people in Lebanon. That's what she did. That's not a role. She's not wearing a costume. That's not a staged fake gun. That's real. That's what she did. How the hell did she get to Hollywood and turn it around and become this A-lister when she has literally no talent? And how did she get a star on Hollywood Boulevard in 10 years? That's never happened before. Nobody's ever gotten a star on Hollywood Boulevard in 10 years. Not a thing. Not a thing. And when you heard me say Gal Gadot psychopath, people know this because they listen to her when she speaks. Back when she didn't speak, we didn't know when she first appeared as Wonder Woman, and she didn't talk. And she actually looked good doing that role as long as she didn't speak. As soon as she opened her mouth, it was clear she couldn't act. It was clear she was awful. How did she get these jobs? You can't just be Wonder Woman by looking the role. How is an untalented idiot able to have a role like this? Well, now we know why. Hand selected, picked, rolled right in, red carpet treatment, just like a Netanyahu. And that's what happens. Now, you might say, well, wait, maybe she regrets what she did, or she's staying silent, but she doesn't. No, she's not staying silent. This is Gal talking now. And this is what led to that protest. People said, we've had enough, and we don't care that there's other people affected. You need to know you don't hire this psychopath. And the way you handle this is you show up and you interrupt a shoot. Guess what? The director and the crew have to figure out how to redo this. And they were in a jam because you're paying all this money and you can't finish your shoot. And maybe you'll think twice about hiring a psychopath that talks like this.
Never did I imagine that we would witness such a day of such death and destruction of Jews in our lifetime. And never did I imagine that on the streets of the United States and different cities around the world, we would see people not condemning Hamas, but celebrating, justifying, and cheering on a massacre of Jews. My name is Gal, and I'm Jewish, and we have had enough of Jew hatred.
Oh, but you haven't. This is the whole point. You create, you know this, you guys, that you haven't had enough. How would you, if you didn't have anyone to blame and excuse your behavior, that would not be good. You need to have excuses. So don't tell me you have had enough. This is good for you. It's good when you confused people and made them think that October 7th just happened out of nowhere and you weren't occupying these people illegally for years and years and years, and that they weren't just doing their right to resist. You have a right to resist occupation. That's a thing. You know this. So she's a psychopath liar, and everybody in that room is too.
We will confront anti-Semitism. We will call it out, but we will never let it not only defeat us, but define us. Because
no, it's exactly what you're doing. Of course you're letting it define you. That's the whole point. There is no definition of Israel without it. Israel can't exist without this. You have to have it. You have to feel it. If you don't have it, why do you need an ethno-state? You don't need an ethno-state. Come on, you know this. You're not letting it define you. The hell of course you're letting it define you. What the hell's wrong with you?
Because our love is stronger than their hate.
Oh. Because why? Because we love to murder Palestinians. We love to turn Gaza into a parking lot. We love to condemn people and arrest people for speaking out against our horrible, heinous crimes. We love that more than their hate of being targeted by us. So yes, our love is greater and stronger. Okay, so you heard all that. The point is, these protests work. That's the point. That's the point. They work, and people know they work, and you share the shit out of this thing like we did, and we ended up with our best. Like I said, this elevated our channel. I have to give credit. I have to thank Gal Gadot for giving us the material to shout this at the top of our lungs and have a channel that we just started in January. This is just a few months after that. And we were able to get people to see this, share it, comment on it, get it all over the place, because this person is a killer and a psychopath, not a character. She's probably better at doing this in real life than playing a role because she can't effing act. But that's how organizing works, guys. That's how organizing works. And that's why that's the number 2 story. And coming in at number 1 for the loudest voice of the year, probably the most effective organizing we saw the entire year. This one made the top of the list, and it's something we need to utilize in the future and show the blueprint of what works when it comes to organizing. And these guys took the top spot. The Italian dock workers, who led a massive strike, they ended up cutting off the supply chain to Israel after the IDF attacked the flotilla. And that was their way to say, you do that to the flotilla and you stop that aid, guess what? We're stopping your supply. And who can do that? The workers. The workers can do that. The workers can do that. Here they are the Italian dock workers and their massive strike, which actually punished Israel and taught them an effing lesson, and punished their president Meloni as well. Here we go.
Italy today, where dock workers have called for a strike in solidarity with the global Samud flotilla and with Gaza.
Noi siamo tutti e tre siamo lavoratori del porto di Genova, lavoriamo in banchina con le navi che da Genova transitano 14-15 mila contenitori verso Israele all'anno, e con il nostro blocco abbiamo detto che se toccano la flottiglia e succedesse qualcosa di grave ai nostri compagni che sono in mezzo al mare, ovviamente noi blocchiamo tutto e non facciamo transitare nulla verso Israele.
Io lavoro nel porto di Genova da 29 anni. Se provare a fermare questo traffico di morte significa dover fermare ogni tipo di traffico verso Israele, da e per Israele, benissimo, allora noi fermeremo tutto, veramente non partirà più un chiodo verso Israele, perché se la loro logica è affamare le persone, la nostra logica è quella di non commerciare più con Israele.
Soprattutto devono lasciargli lo spazio per poter entrare a Gaza, portare questi aiuti umanitari, anche solo per sfamare bambini, aiutare medicinali, cibo, devono lasciarli passare.
Nello specifico, questo sciopero che stiamo facendo oggi in 75 oltre piazze italiane creerà un disagio alle merci che dovranno andare in Israele. Intanto in questo momento i porti sono fermi, quindi non c'è movimento di navi.
The dock workers in Genoa called a general strike, and they, as well as teachers and public transit workers in cities across Italy, walked off the job today.
La classe operaia negli ultimi decenni ha un po' lasciato perdere la coesione che aveva tra i lavoratori. Il fatto di essere qua oggi in tanti e così tanti posti di lavoro che sono stati fermati è un segnale anche per dire che la classe operaia si sta rimettendo insieme. Quindi se oggi stiamo lottando per la Palestina, questa unità di persone vuol portare ad essere anche una lotta per un futuro lavorativo migliore per tutti quanti.
2 in 3 non cambiamo il mondo, in tanti riusciamo a cambiare.
Il Portuale ce l'ha insegnato, lottare le armi non è reato.
That's from More Perfect Union. Well put together. Well done. This is how organizing works. Tens of thousands across Italy, massive general strike led by the dock workers in solidarity with their colleagues on the Gaza Freedom Flotilla, which actually made the Freedom Flotilla effective. And it was their 3rd or 4th attempt, I believe, at doing this, and it actually was effective. And this is how organizing works. The strike actually ended up spreading across the entire country. And the one dock worker that told them, if trying to stop this traffic of death means having to stop every type of traffic to and from Israel, then fine. We will stop everything. And this is what it looked like when they did. There it is. This is the result of effective organizing. This is the result of having conditions put out, very specific. You touch a hair on their head, we will F you with what we can do, because we're the workers. We're the workers that provide these supplies, right? This is similar to, we're talking about the Kaiser strike right now with Leslie earlier. We are the ones that we can make a difference if we stick together, hold our ground, and force you to make the change. That's the only way things get done. So let's remember this method as we move into the rest of this year. We're 1 month into 2026. And we have to understand this is the only way effective organizing works, just like this. And you don't fall for the bullying. You don't fall for the top-down guilt trips. How dare you? You're making normal people are suffering. Innocent people are suffering because you cut off the supply chain. No, Israel's responsible for that. We're responding to that and we're laying it down. You stop, you let the aid into Gaza, and we will put the supplies back. And that's what happened. Some aid finally started getting into Gaza. Now, it wasn't obviously perfect, and there's still total problems with it. But this is what you have to do, putting people in power, putting them in their place, and forcing them to make the change that you demand. That's how organizing works. Let's remember this when we move into the rest of this year, because there will be more opportunities to see this and call it out when it's not being done effectively. We can call out operations that look like they're captured, right? They look like they've been infiltrated and they don't go to this extent and they become commercialized. We have to look out for those type of movements that get captured and say, if it's not checking these boxes of what an effective organizing looks like, then something's wrong and it needs to be looked at and called out as what it is. So that's it for the loudest voice of the year. It's the Italian Dockworkers. Power to the people for sure. And let's follow by example as we move into the remaining of 2026.